fire started like about, I don't know, a mile from my house, which was the biggest California wildfire in history at the time. I basically stayed behind and everybody evacuated, and the police had set up roadblocks, and so we were just kind of stuck up there. My neighbors needed help, and so I got on social media and I just started filming and like you're doing, telling their story. And we used to say like it spread like faster than the fire. I could afford to take the time off at work, and these people needed like real help. So we used social media to provide them that.
Welcome to this episode of Bourbon or Proof, where we interview those who have been both successful law and life, and we probably have one of the most successful trial lawyers and one of the biggest humanitarians and the guy with the biggest heart, who's also not a piece of shit.
Wow.
Trevor Quirk.
I've never heard you speak so highly of someone.
What an introduction.
Speaking of highs, we also have lows. We have Mauro Fiore on, the co-host, as always.
Yes, thank you. Hello, hello.
And we're in Santa Barbara today, which is not too far from Ojai, where you reside.
About an hour.
Not bad. Same geographic region.
Different zips.
Different zips. So we're going to start off with, Trevor and I have tried cases together, and I know he's a true believer in access to justice and justice for folks, and you're the only one here that's got a 9-figure verdict. Do you ever have a 9-figure verdict?
No.
This man has. At least one.
$900 verdict, yes. But not 9 figures.
How many have you had? You had the one.
One.
Big one. And then
How much is
another
9
one was like
figures?
50
Is that like
million.
100 million?
It's damn close. It was 84 million.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
49 million of it was punitive damages in 18 minutes.
In 18 minutes. That must have been.
Who was the defendant on that case?
Tree company, nationwide tree company.
No. Asplund or whatever?
Mowbray's.
Mowbray's.
I didn't know this. Well, this one is a...
18 minutes, dude.
I read about this. This was recent.
Yeah.
That's on appeal, obviously, or what do they do?
It's not on appeal yet. We're in the middle of doing our cost motion for new trial, motions for judgment, notwithstanding the, all the
Yeah. I think it'll be
all
fine.
the stuff.
But this one is
It's
a...
amazing.
So people talk about these things called nuclear verdicts. There's no such thing as a nuclear verdict. It's a just verdict because they didn't pay what was reasonable, right? I mean, they probably had an opportunity, but this is the highest proof whiskey that's, I think, in my whiskey room. It's called Obtainium. It's from Indiana. This is a rye whiskey.
That's great.
64% alcohol. And this is one we did with collaboration with Cat's Eye Distillery. This is the Justice Team label, which there's only 140 bottles that they made of this.
Wow.
Gene Nassif, who's a lawyer, he's been on the show from Indiana, reached out to do a collab, and we actually, on Jason Sanchez's episode, we did a taste test of the Barrel Selects. We tasted one, so this was the winner. It was the highest proof, not even close. But we're gonna start with some Justice Juice for Trevor Quirk.
So
64%.
for people who don't drink a lot, 64% is going to equate to 128 proof. Which
Can we light this on fire?
Like your normal bottle
yes.
of whiskey you buy at Ralph's is going to be 80 proof. So this
Thank
is
you guys.
This is also, you can
a lot stronger. Give me a little more of that.
You can
You're
put
a
this in
little-
the
you're cheap on that.
flux capacitor and travel back in time, or forward in time. But look at the color of that. Look how dark this is. All right, gentlemen.
Cheers, guys.
The street lawyers and street justice, Trevor Quirk. Thank
You know, I'm getting rid of this coasters. They stick to the bottom of the glasses. We don't need a coaster. It's not our table anyways.
Now, for as hot as that is, whew.
You know what about that verdict?
Wow.
I think I either was watching a Bourbon Approved episode or reading something that you wrote, but didn't you recently say before every verdict they could have settled for far less?
Yeah.
You know how much they could have settled that verdict for in the tree case?
Oh, God.
$2 million.
$2 million. And they probably talk shit. Take the $2 million, you idiot.
Yeah.
No way.
Swear to God.
How much before the verdict? Like while they're deliberating?
No. Before we went to trial, we went to like 3 mediations. Tree companies doing $250 million a year, and they only had a $1 million insurance policy. And so I was telling them, pay $1 million on top of the $1 million.
That was all you asked?
That's all I asked.
You know, we see all this stuff about like tort reform and all these people trying to misexplain what's really going on, but that bad decision by somebody at that company cost them how many times? 40 times that amount. Maybe more because the FBI.
So what's really interesting now is leading up to that case, they knew they had a lot of exposure, and I told them as soon as this offer expires, it's never going to be on the table again. And they kept trying to tell me, settle. And they formed 3 other companies. That trial was like 8 weeks long.
Wow.
Plus a month break between closings and the verdict, which was it was the worst.
How does that happen?
Because we had no more jurors, we had no more alternates, like we were out of jurors. And one of the jurors said, I can't deliberate. I have these doctor's appointments. And the judge is like, well, Mr. Quirk, do you want a mistrial or what do you want to do? And I'm like, no, of course I don't want a mistrial. And the judge said, well, when can you guys come back? And they all took a poll, and the earliest they could come back was a month later. So we did our closings, and leading up to that closings, this tree company formed a bunch of different companies, took all their assets, put them in these different companies. They've got 1,500 trucks. Put them in all
that's a fraudulent conveyance. I
Yeah,
mean, they're
yeah. So I've learned a lot post verdict through the bankruptcy process, and
They filed bankruptcy?
they filed bankruptcy.
that moved all their assets over. You can't do that.
So I got
They're donkeys.
I got some really good BK guys on the case. We're bringing all of their different companies into the fold. It's
If they have a BK, they have a trustee that
The trustee
should be your
can
best
sell all
friend.
that trucks,
Oh,
sell
yeah.
all that shit and give it to you.
oh yeah.
Idiots.
We're gonna get paid.
That's going to be legal malpractice.
It's crazy,
Whoever told
man.
them to do that.
They have, they were literally doing 200 million plus per year, running around with $1 million in insurance.
And that's crazy.
But that month before after closings leading up to the verdict, you guys know when you're like, after you do closings, you're like sitting around. Bob just leaves. But,
I just leave.
But your hands are like, huh?
I don't babysit juries. I go. I'll be on the golf course. Call me. Let me know what happened.
Really?
It's the worst. I just leave. I go to the beach, just try to not have my cell phone around me. Just don't want to be around.
Well, I went the day that they were supposed to come back. I'm sitting in the hallway in San Bernardino, and it's like
I love that courthouse.
8-story courthouse or whatever, and you can hear the elevator. And they're supposed to be there at like 8:30 or whatever time, and I'm sitting there on the bench. Ta-ding! And I'm looked down the hallway, and there's one juror. I'm like, okay, we got one. Ta-ding! 2 jurors. They all showed up, dude.
Wow.
I was like, holy shit, we're gonna have a verdict. It was my stomach.
What time did you get there? What time were you waiting outside the courtroom?
Before the courthouse opened.
Yeah. The jury should always see you
Waiting.
taking it seriously and waiting.
Well,
I leave, but I'm saying so much for my team.
We spent 8 weeks trying the case. The juror, we got to, it was.
You also got to be worried at that point at those stakes, like jury tampering. It's a real thing, man. People try to do some fucked up shit.
Especially when you have that much money. We had bench warrants issued for the CEOs. One of the guys showed up with a bodyguard. The owner of the company had bodyguards. He was in the courthouse, told the bailiff these motherfuckers got me, and ran out of the courthouse, and the judge had to issue a bench warrant for him. Some crazy shit going on in that trial.
One case I tried with Trevor, there was a warrant out for somebody's arrest, and he was actually getting arraigned during our trial. Mid-trial, this is like second or third weekend. Yeah, it was our client getting arraigned 2 doors down on a criminal offense. They're about to send this guy to the clink. My first and only criminal appearance. And Trevor calls me because I go to the courthouse early, and he's like, "So-and-so's." I forget what was going on, but they were like, he was literally up talking to the judge. I had to run. It's like, I'm representing so-and-so. Like, who are you? I'm like, well, now I'm his lawyer. I was like, can we hold off? He's got a trial upstairs in the civil case for like 2 more weeks.
That's nuts.
And we never called our own client in that case. We couldn't.
The defense was so mad because
And we still won.
Well, didn't they send a 1987 or nothing
they
on him?
never did, and that was their mistake.
They never tried to subpoena him?
Nope.
You hit him?
You know who the lawyer was? Dana Fox.
Dana Fox, and he's still mad about this to this day.
The guy who pulls the rug out from everyone in trial?
yeah.
He finally got it done to him?
We had to call a city engineer in that case to prove the speed limit. It was that kind of stuff. No, remember Mark Polanski, who was one of his lawyers on that case?
What happened to him?
Mark went out and did something completely different. He reached out to me last week. I didn't even tell you about this. He has a special needs child, which we talked about during the trial. So after that trial, he's like, I want nothing to do with
Good for him.
this
man.
type of stuff. And we were able to help him with his situation with his daughter. But like he reached out, like the first person he called was me, was on the other side of the Delta.
Wow.
Because of that trial, you know. And I never met the guy before, but we treated him so nicely, but it was the other lawyer that was on his team that just treated him poorly.
Dana. Well, Dana and Eddie got what was coming to them recently. Raleigh got him.
Yeah, Raleigh got him. I watched the close in that case.
Trevor would send me stuff on CVN.
Bruno did a hell of a job.
Bruno's a good lawyer.
Wow. His rebuttal? Of course, he had a day to do it, a night to do it or whatever.
So I don't know if you know this.
We went to the Super Bowl in the middle of that trial.
I saw
in the middle of the
In
trial.
the middle of the trial.
I saw in Nick's jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I went to watch the trial, and we went to eat lunch. Me, Nick, and Bruno. Bruno's from Philadelphia. Nick's in the middle of the trial. He says, "Mara, let's take Bruno to the Super Bowl." I said, "Well, okay." So Nick said, "Okay, just meet me at Van Nuys Airport on Sunday morning. We're going to the Super Bowl."
I didn't know it was in the middle of the trial.
Yeah,
I thought you
middle of
guys
the
were
trial.
done.
So this is the worst part. So I'm on this text chain, and I'm the only one that didn't go because we're going to our kids' ski week. We're taking them out, and I'm seeing all their pictures, the stuff that they're doing, the
Yeah, and I
halftime show. These guys
said,
send
Nick, you're
pictures.
going to fly me there, and I got a 50-yard line seat. I said, well, you have to twist my arm too hard, and I don't even like either fucking team, but fuck, I'll go to it. So yeah, I mean, next thing you know, I told my wife, "Oh, hey, I'm going to the Super Bowl with Nick. I'm leaving on Sunday."
Why were you
morning."
involved in that trial? What were you
No,
doing?
I was just going. I like hanging out with Nick. I'm like I told you
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
I've known Nick way back before he was Nick Rowley.
Yeah.
I knew Fontana Nick back in the old days. So me and Nick could go back 20 years. So I known him for a long, long time. So we're really good friends.
So I had a few pulls of this last night. I always try, like before we film, I
Hey,
drink
this
every
is-
night.
This is very good.
This is for 64%. I had a few of these last night.
This is the one I brought, right?
This is the one you brought.
Yeah.
So I have a few at home because I got a few with the buy. So I drink this at home, and it's a good buffer if you're drinking a lot the next day. You're invincible after doing this. But we're gonna go. I want to talk to Trevor about this next day. I don't know if you know this, Morrow, but Trevor was a write-in candidate in Ojai for a city position and almost won on a straight fuck you to the system. Right. It was after the Thompson fires, and they were fucking with people. It was like a water rights thing. What was the issue?
That lawsuit's still going on. So the county initiated some water lawsuit, water adjudication, and the supervisor.
Sounds like bird law or something like that.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. The supervisor, he knew that I was a potential supervisor candidate, and so he did the like politicking, you know, hey, let's meet for lunch, or it was breakfast or whatever, and we're sitting down, and he's like, hey, I just want to make sure you're not running, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not running, dude. I got legal business, I got other stuff going on.
Got little kids.
Yeah,
legal business,
and he's like, okay, good. And I said his name. I won't say his name, and I'm like, hey, as long as everything's cool, you're gonna take care of us. We live up in Ojai. He's from down in Ventura. He's like, yeah, everything's cool. And then the deadline to be on the ballot expires, and the next day it comes out in the newspapers that the county of Ventura had initiated this. The city of Ventura, rather, had initiated this water lawsuit against all of the Ventura homeowners, and he hid that from me because he was the city mayor, and he knew they voted on it and all this
It's
stuff.
the city of San Buenaventura.
City of San Buenaventura.
Nobody knows. That's the real name of Ventura. Ventura doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
called San Buenaventura, city
Wow.
of Ventura. But nobody calls it that for whatever reason. They just shortened
It's
it
too long.
to
Sounds
Ventura.
corny.
But it's San Buenaventura.
Well, so I just said, well, dude, you weren't straight with me, and
Yeah, he hosed you.
he hosed me. So I just said, I'm gonna run as a write-in candidate, and I think like 14,000 people voted for me.
That's insane on
That's
a write-in
insane.
candidate.
Bob, you were talking about bird law or something right now, right? I bought the bunch of websites back when people were big into the bird scooters. I bought birdcases.com, birdinjuries.com, right?
I think I saw. Didn't you do Didn't you do one of these podcasts?
Well, I
where
bought
you,
these. So now I get random people who come to these websites who have been attacked by parrots and shit. I've had like several like parrot like cases, but it's like it's been hard to.
Wasn't there something where you had to send a cease and desist to somebody?
No, somebody sent one to me.
That's right.
Oh, and it was Jacob and Rami.
Yeah, because I had a
boy.
bunch of like, I would have like phony websites that were similar to other lawyers.
Yeah.
Like, just misspellings, and I'd add an extra S, whatever. But people are not great spellers, so they fuck up the websites all the time, and then they go to the wrong one.
Now what these fuckers do is they buy AdWords in your name.
We just talked about that, which is legal. You could buy negative AdWords.
So if you Google whatever,
you Google Trevor Quirk right now, they'll probably be. I would probably know the 5 people bidding on your name right now.
Wilshire Law Firm would come up first.
Yep,
definitely.
Let's do the next pour.
That's legal.
Can you pour
they
this?
Can do it.
Can you get the Dickel? Do the Dickel.
Dickel? Okay.
Because I want to talk. Yeah, do that. This one's interesting.
All right. Well, I brought this one from home. I've had this one at the house. I brought this originally because I thought my wife would like it because it's spicy, but she didn't dig it. This is George Dickel, which is a nice bourbon that you can buy, but this one is finished in Tabasco barrel.
Oh, that's great.
So, but Tabasco sauce, it's distilled and then aged for 4 years. Tabasco sauce. So then they get the old Tabasco sauce barrels when they put the bourbon in it for the last year. So this is a Tabasco barrel finished George Dickel bourbon, and this is a little spicy.
Tennessee's finest, right?
You just gave me a great idea for. We got to make one in sriracha barrels.
Oh man, I love sriracha.
That sriracha guy got hit in Ventura for a massive verdict. You know that?
No kidding, huh?
Really?
Yeah.
The guy from
That started sriracha.
Ho Young Foods.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's in.
You know everything about nothing. This guy.
I always surprise Bob with my breadth of knowledge of nonsense. Ho Young Foods is in Azusa. It's they're the biggest
that's
pepper,
fantastic.
biggest
really
red pepper
good.
buyer in the United States.
Yes. How do you know that?
I know lots of nonsense.
So when I make an old fashioned at home, I just pour whiskey and put fire bitters in it. This is what it tastes like.
This is so good.
Oh fuck, it's good, man.
Yeah. What's the proof? This got to be lower proof. It's got to be like 40, 35.
I don't have great eyesight.
Megan, I know you don't
35.
drink, but
35%.
This is something for you.
And the reason
Smooth sipping, made with whiskey and mellowed at the McElhaney and Company Tabasco barrels.
I feel like I should be eating some street tacos with that.
Oh man, some Mexican corn. So one of the reasons that Mauro picked this for you is you were a hero during the Thompson fire, and Trevor, we saw you. Thomas, sorry, what did I say?
Thompson. Thomas.
Thompson, I think, was in Malibu. Wasn't? Maybe I'm crazy. My fire's mixed up.
We'll see. I don't know. One of those.
But during that fire, Trevor was literally saving not only his property, but his neighbor's property, cutting fire lines. I mean, like, real hero shit. So, and I know we recently with the, Palisades, Altadena folks been sifting together. And it's been the most rewarding experiences. He would bring down like 300 sifters with like the PPE gear and like, just to help people, right? But why did you get into this, dude? I mean, you're a successful trial lawyer. I mean, beautiful family. Your wife's a lawyer. You guys have a great practice. You're well known in Ventura. Why?
Well, I was in the right place at the right time, I think. That fire started like about, I don't know, a mile from my house. What was the biggest California wildfire in history at the time. And I mean, it's a long story, but I basically stayed behind and everybody evacuated, and where I live is kind of a remote rural area, and the police had set up roadblocks, and so we were just kind of stuck up there. And my neighbors needed help, and the Red Cross was dropping these buckets off at the checkpoints, and inside the bucket was like a tarp, a sponge, and some blue soap. And I'm like, dude, my neighbors need underwear, size 9 shoes, whatever it was, right? And so I got on social media and I just started filming people and like you're doing, telling their story on social media. And it literally caught on, and we used to say like it spread like faster than the fire. I mean, it went viral, and there were people in Germany and all over the world sending us stuff, and film crews came in, and so I was just, I had just hit a couple like $1 million verdicts. I was doing fine. Didn't need to. I could afford to take the time off at work, and these people needed like real help. So we use social media to provide them that.
I mean, there was a good 6 months where you were just helping people and
Yeah,
not practicing law.
Yeah, so we set up this relief station in the Stagecoach parking lot. It's like the only store that exists where we live, and literally the entire parking lot was just converted into a relief center for people who lost their homes.
Is that out by Lake Cachuma?
No, it's up in like Upper Ojai, so you know where Nick lives.
Yeah.
If you head towards LA, like up there in the mountains. Bob knows where it's at because he stayed up there for
Multiple weeks. We'll tell that
I
story.
got married
the
at
next
Nick's house, so I know that area real well.
And I had a background, you know, I was fortunate enough I fought fires in college, wildland firefighter, and I felt like kind of comfortable in that situation. I didn't feel the need to have to evacuate. I had just completed building my house where I lived, and I felt like there's no way in hell I'm gonna leave and have this thing burned down. So it was just a product of like a whole bunch of different circumstances. Yeah,
We're gonna put some of that in this episode because I saw some of the stuff. We took some of it, and I'd love to just drop it in because it was.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our friend circles talking about fucking Trevor's like the goddamn hero. This is a real like.
Well, dude, the fire department's evacuated. Like literally, it was it was us. You know, the trees were dropping on the roads, and we were chainsawing the trees down to evacuate, you know, people with medical needs out. And it was literally like martial law, kind of like what you see in I think what happened in Malibu a little bit, right? But it's different. Where I live is in the forest, and we took care of ourselves. Had to.
Damn right, man.
Yeah.
So when we were trying that, I'll do the next pour now because it's funny. When we were trying the multiple week trial, we were staying at his house in Ojai. So
Where was it? Where were you guys in Ventura?
Yeah.
we were in Ventura Courthouse. So we would stay in his, what'd you call it, your side house? What is that, your
Little guest house.
guest house? We had these little like adjoining bedrooms. It was fun, man. Like these are the best stories where you're trying cases and you go back to your war room, which is his house. His oldest kid was probably like 8 or 9 at that time.
This is before he had, dude, I was hoping you would talk about this.
That's why I bought this bottle.
I have
Okay.
a funny story about it. Well, you brought this bottle. I was like, God damn, thank you for bringing a bottle of Willett, because this is a funny story.
This is before he had Justice HQ. And I didn't really know Bob that well, but he would go back into the little bedroom that he was staying in, and I'm like, fuck, what is this guy doing back there? You know, and the only thing you told me is like you have some big things on the horizon. I was thinking that actually when I walked into the hotel, and I'm like, what year was that anyway?
That's 2018, 2017.
I mean, it was before then. I think it might have been 2016.
I don't think it was that early. Might have been. We could go back and look.
Whatever. It was a decade ago, maybe 10 years ago. Before Justice HQ, before Attorney Chair, before your disc injury book, which I'm going to buy from now. We had to give a plug for that. But I don't know if you ever remember me telling you this, when you invited me to speak at Mardi Gras. And I was like, well, when the Elon Musk of the legal industry invites you to speak, you got to show up. I kind of feel bad about saying that now.
Yeah, I can't say that now.
But man.
No, Bob's always been ahead of his time, man. Visionary.
9 years, and look at this thing he's developed. None of this, didn't have Justice HQ.
No. But it was always like, for me, it was on a roadmap to like.
That's what you were doing back there in that little room, dude.
I always said get back to calm, so I could be able to communicate very quickly with a lot of people on scale, help them fast. So when you get out of trial, it's like you start with the firm. You get out of trial, you got to get back to your firm on all these different issues because you got to do stuff. Now imagine doing that times 20, times 100, times 1,000. How can you do that quickly and on scale? That was on my mind back then because when I'm in this trial,
it was on your mind during the trial because I'd look over and you'd be hiding under your phone under the desk talking to people.
And I could swipe. So
while
I could
we're
do without
crossing
looking.
experts.
That was a fun trial, and we had some great stories from that one. But this is one of my favorite ones. It's crazy. I used to have that rule where I didn't drink during trial.
What?
I had that. Yeah.
Hope you got rid of that
Not
fucking
from
rule.
start to finish. Not even the weekends. So I would go.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, it was
I wouldn't
nonsense.
even think of any good shit to do on cross if I wasn't drinking at night.
Some of my best ideas came after drinking all night. But during that trial, I didn't have that rule
Do a case
anymore.
with you tomorrow.
Oh, you should do a case with Morrow. It's a different experience.
My jury selection is funny. You'd love it.
This is his jury selection.
I always ask the jurors, do I remind you anybody you don't like? You know?
Really?
Yeah. Because one time I had a juror said, I don't like you, but you remind me of my old roommate. And he stole shit from me. I was like, well, fuck. Do I look like... You look like him and you sound like him. I wouldn't believe shit you say.
You should have said, what did we...
So now I ask people, well, fuck, do I remind you of like your old roommate who stole your shit?
That's a great question.
You know, because if I didn't ask that, then they would never told me.
tell you. But this is a...
Do you follow Gary Dordick on Instagram? You see that thing, that question he said on this? He just put something recently on his
Yeah, I think he
Instagram.
had a similar problem. He had a similar thing happen to him.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that's his thing recently. Like, how much do you...
He always says, like, I had one juror say that I remind her of her ex-husband.
Oh, no, that's no good.
No. Look at that. I mean, this is just so... Barrow likes to hold this bottle for a long time.
Oh, yeah. This is Willett.
So this is the pot still Willett.
This is pot distilled?
The pot's distilled one is the one that kind of fucks me up a little bit. I don't know why, but it's just the way that they do it.
Bob, it's so slimy if you had your hands on it.
Oh, my God.
You got to wash your hands once in a while.
But I actually texted Morrow, Megan on the here, because I forgot to get a bottle of Willett for this episode. And when you showed up with one to gift, I don't know if you remember this. No. We went over to the Ojai liquor store where we would go over and have dinner sometimes afterwards.
That's where I got this.
Yeah, and that's where I grabbed a bottle of that. And, you know, we drank, what I drank at least, because I was drinking a bottle of Willett every day after trial.
No shit?
Yes.
Wow, dude.
Willett.
How coincidental.
Willett and fish food. We get the fish food ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
a bunch of candy.
Sounds like a way to gain some weight.
That's all he ate.
It was a
Well,
champion's
you know,
diet.
I've spent more time with Bob than just probably any. I've lived with him for months on end. And Bob doesn't really eat. At one time, he doesn't eat much.
I know that.
He's not a guy that eats a big meal or nothing.
good.
He'll eat here and there all day long, a little snack.
I'm a grazer. I'm like a
but
cow.
He's like not going to sit down and eat. It's not how he.
You know, one of the things Bob taught me.
I like to have a big fucking meal. You know.
Really? No one would know that.
Every time I go to dinner with him, he orders like 7 different things. I'm like,
Well, in case I
need
don't
to
like
order
something, I got a backup plan. You know. It's like my buddy Gene Sullivan. He always orders 2 entrees at dinner. But in case
That's your boy, Gino?
Yeah. In case he
good.
doesn't like one, he'll eat the other one. And if he likes them both, he eats them both.
Now I got some. I was texting him on the way up here, actually. We
Gino's
did you know, Gene and I.
Gino's one of my best friends.
Really? Did he tell you how we fucked Nevada's Uber law up so bad?
No, but
On his case that we took up to the Supreme Court of Nevada?
Oh, he did tell me about this.
Oh, we got hosed so bad.
He did tell me about this. He wasn't thrilled by that.
Yes.
No, I had Gino's 50th birthday party at my house a few
Really?
years back. He's got to be 56.
He's
by
off.
now.
He
It's been a while.
he stops drinking every year on the first of the year.
Yeah, he goes to meatless. He
goes
goes
dry.
to dry January and
Right.
and
But
then
he only
he's-
drinks like, he's coming on the Bourbon show, but he only drinks like Bud Light.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you ever watch me
he's a
drink?
beer drinker.
He just drinks Bud Light. It's weird.
I've spent a lot of time with Gene. He doesn't touch hard liquor. He just drinks Bud Light. It's just like his dad. Him and his dad are 2 peas in a pod. I remember.
He gets some good results too.
One time I went to Iowa with Gene. Gene gets great. He's a great fucking trial lawyer. I went to Iowa with Gene to see an Iowa football game because he's from Iowa.
He is?
Yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
from.
He has a bunch of brothers and sisters who would
no
come out
shit.
for his
6 of 'em are
Christmas
lawyers.
party, and it's
He's-
crazy,
I
man.
think
They all
he
look
has
the same.
7 brothers and sisters, and 6 of them are lawyers.
They all look like Gene, but with a wig on.
Yeah, Gene's the only one that doesn't have any hair.
Yeah.
But I went out to Iowa to see an Iowa football game with Gene because he went to the University of Iowa. His dad must have been 80-something at the time. And his dad's 6'4", just like Gene. You know, these are big people. The whole family, they're all
Kind
big.
of like me.
Yeah, 6'4". His dad was 80-something years old. That fucker drank from 10 a.m. until midnight, and he was still drinking when I went to
If you're
sleep.
drinking Bud Lights, you could do that.
So
man.
his dad
It's
drank
just
just as much as
hydrating.
Gene. These guys, they were, you could tell Gene was his son. They drank all day, 12 hours straight.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Gene's the best.
Yeah,
So
gotta-
what's the Willett? That's what you were drinking.
So
That
yeah,
trial.
because we did this multiple week trial, and
Dana.
anybody that does trial work knows if you do it the right way, you got to do it with a team, people to lean on, especially if you're running your own shop.
Amen.
It's freaking impossible to like have that responsibility for everything. But we did a great job in that trial to split everything up. Everybody had their kill zone, their skill set, and we concentrate on different things. And we go back end of the night, collaborate. I'd have a few drinks.
I like to do direct of the plaintiff. That's one of my
That's the
strong
one I don't
suits.
like to do anymore.
I love to do direct to plaintiff.
But this was the best part is he was still building out his place in Ojai, and his kids would come home from school. and we would like his
Play
one son
pig.
play pig, and this kid would beat my ass, and I'm decent at basketball. This kid was shooting for like the fire pit, and like jump off 1 foot off the fire pit. He's making these like, what the hell? Like, how am I going to be able to make this? And then I see he's wrestling now.
Bob had $20 bills out, man.
Yeah. Then now he's wrestling. He was Maricosta wrestling for.
Speaking of Iowa, I was just in Fresno last week. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I was coaching too this year. It was
For
fun.
at the CIF championships. Mm-hmm. My friends, one of my best friends from high school, his son finished 12th in that. His name was
He must be very good.
Lassick from Temecula.
Yeah, we were down actually right near Bob's house for
Maricosta High School.
the tournament.
Yeah, he was up at the state finals. He finished 12th, or maybe
Gino
9th.
lives right. Actually, Gene Sullivan lives right by that high school.
I wish I would have known. I would have went over to
3
his house.
blocks.
Gene
picked
has
up
one of those new, where they knocked down some old shitty house and put up one of those square big mansion boxes, on the lot.
Yeah.
He's got one of those mansions. He's got one of those mini mansions.
A lot of land there. I mean, Trevor, I got to ask you, man. I mean, we go back and forth with some stuff outside of the trial work that we do.
Yeah.
What's your aspirations now that we've had like 3.5 whiskeys? Because this one counts double, probably.
Probably the same that you have, Bob, is affecting positive change. And so a lot, whether it means, I don't know that it means taking or running for an elected office, because if you're an elected official, you're stuck within a box. And oftentimes you cannot affect the change as fast and as efficiently as if you are not within that box, right? So I know I see the stuff that you're doing, and so my aspirations are just to continue being a positive force in the little community that I live in, and if that little ripple expands, then great.
Yeah, I love it.
So does it mean that I'm gonna take another shot at being supervisor? I don't know. I'm not sure I wanna have to go to the meetings and deal
Here's
with
the
the
thing:
red
is
tape.
I don't want to deal with the red tape. Don't want to fundraise.
Yeah.
Why? I mean,
You know what's weird, man, is about fundraising too? Those people, that comes with expectations. The text, I donated X amount of dollars to you, I'm expecting. I've got, no, then you're beholden to
somebody. I think it's dumb. That's why I think.
I donate to I have some my friends in Congress, Garrett Trent's in Congress.
Yeah, he's all of our friends.
I saw you guys.
Bunch of guys that we're friends
And
with.
son of a bitch just texted me right now. He needs $1,000. He says, I need $1,000 for whatever bullshit. He sent me some Think Blue link.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Derek, he's a son of a bitch, man. But what are you gonna do? He's your friend, And I don't get shit out of it, Derek Trent being a congressman. What the fuck do I get out of it? But, I'm going to support him. He's my boy.
You can get a lot. I mean, in California specifically, we actually write a lot of policy and change, but you have to have that access and to be able to do it.
I mean, look at
gonna send you the
what
link, too.
Rowley did.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
He got some judges kicked off the bench. And
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, Nick's not someone you want to fuck with. He's got too much energy. He's got too much energy.
too much damn money too,
Yeah,
and
too
access
much
to
money
people
and
with
too much
money.
energy. So,
I mean, I
that
donated.
judge fucked with Nick, and
He got me to donate
Nick got
like
him.
$5,000 to some Republican judge running in Missouri.
He sent me that same text message, man. Yeah.
He was relentless. He called me 20 times till he got me on that one. He's relentless. But you can't say no to Nick.
But you know what?
Nick
I
would
mean,
give you the
Nick
shirt off
makes
his
change,
back,
man.
So
that's
you-
what
you
that's
have
what
to
it
change.
takes.
Everybody told him you can't do this, never in your lifetime. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it with my money. So
I love it. I love people with
Trevor,
energy.
tell us a little bit of your backstory. Like, where did you come from? How did you end up as the Trevor Quirk?
oh, he was born and raised in Las Vegas, man, like on the strip.
Give us the backstory.
Yeah. Born and raised in Sacramento. Born in LA, where you're from.
Yeah.
Was raised in Sacramento. Went to an all boys Catholic school in Sacramento.
Wow.
Not by choice. Thank God my parents did that.
Both my parents went to Catholic school, and they said, you guys aren't going to Catholic school. There's no
Smart.
way.
My kids
His kids go, right?
kids go to Catholic school, and
Really?
I think it's great because they're there with the the kids are nice, the parents are nice.
They're not
It's
screwing off.
Yeah, it's a nice environment. for
How old
them
are
to
your
be in.
kids?
21, we won't even get into her. 21, 6, and 4.
So, okay.
The 21-year-old, she went a little bit off the rails on me, but I've reeled her back in.
Bob will be there in 10 years, I think. with
Yeah,
his.
he's already seen what happens to girls. They go cuckoo.
They do. I mean, my I got a 16-year-old son. I didn't know this. Last night we were at his wrestling award banquet, and the coach is giving out awards, and he's giving out these scholastic awards, and the high school gives out scholastic academic achievement, and he's giving them out in ascending order, and my son is the last one. He has a 4.85. What?
Wow.
That's what I said. I'm like, Landon, what the hell? I had no idea, man. I'm not pushing him. It's just all him.
Good for him.
So no
you
need for Catholic school for him.
Grew up in Sacramento, and then
Grew
what
up in
happened?
Sacramento. Went to UC Davis. Then went to McGeorge. Got involved in student body stuff.
What year did you graduate from McGeorge Law School?
2003.
Really? My friend might have been there at that time. His name is Dean Hakak.
Is that a real last name?
I feel like this is
His name
a
is
fake name.
Hakak. Hakak. He's
didn't know him.
Iraqi. And his real first name is Zaid. He
I
goes
feel
by
like we're
Dean.
still waiting for the punchline of this.
Yeah.
Dean Hakak. Zaid Hakak. No, great guy, but he went to McGeorge.
Did he play tight end too?
No, he's a fucking played nothing. Played skin flute. Sorry, Dean. I apologize.
They'll edit that out.
Yeah, so you went to
Nah.
McGeorge.
So I went to
Shouldn't be
McGeorge. I was doing student body stuff, and I got my first legal job in Vegas with a guy named Rick Harris, who would be a really interesting guest actually on here.
Rick Harris is a famous
know him?
PI lawyer from Vegas.
Yeah, so I was in his
Yeah.
firm, working there 2-3 years. I got stuck
you're
in
licensed
this.
in Nevada
I'm
and
licensed
California?
in Nevada. Really interesting story about my boss who was investigated by the FBI.
And wasn't
got
he involved
prosecuted.
with the Mayor Goodman?
Yes.
Yeah, I read.
He knows a lot about nothing. I told you, man.
How do you know this shit?
Man. I read this
Really?
story
About her being found dead and the mob was involved?
I read this story about
What?
him and the mayor.
That was my boss, bro.
Wow.
He's still crushing. I mean, he still runs a big operation.
It was like someone within his. So he had this lady doing construction defect law who was my boss. She got involved in the mob with the mob. I don't know how much I want to say this on camera, but it was fucking crazy, man.
And the mayor was deep involved too.
The mayor was deep involved. They were taking
Is this
over.
a plot line of like a Billy Bob show
Dude,
on
she's
Netflix?
dead. She was found dead in her bathtub.
Yeah. The mayor was real dirty. I read
Yeah,
this in the New York
and
Times.
they infiltrated the Nevada Supreme Court.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. You can Google this shit.
This is
Yeah,
why,
it's
like
a good story.
Nevada.
So I got out of Nevada, came over to California when that shit was going down, and there was delays in phones, and I was like, dude, this is too heavy. I need to get out, and I just moved to Ventura. My grandpa and grandma had lived in Camarillo their whole life, and I moved over there. And
Did you go to
set
law
up
school
shop.
with your wife? When did you meet her?
Yeah, I met her in college.
So what? Did she go to Vegas with you? Like what?
No, she was in San Luis Obispo. She was smarter than me. Went to Davis Law. I was at UOP. So she's in San Luis Obispo. I'm in Vegas, and I'm like, hey, let's meet in Ventura. Met in Ventura. Set up my own shop in 2006, and then here we are.
We know the king of San Luis Obispo, the May firm, Rob May.
Yeah, I was
Rob
surprised.
May.
Are
Love
they going to be on here?
They've been on here. All the
they've been-
brothers
oh, really?
been on. We did all
Rob
the
May's
Muslim
my
show.
brother, man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
We
Rob-
on that
Rob's the
show
best.
we drank a mystery whiskey because people send me booze all the time, and somebody sent me just a.
It just had no label.
Had no
nothing.
label.
We were hoping
Surprised
we
you
didn't go
were
blind.
drink it.
We did it on the show together. I said
Was
if we
it
all go
good?
blind, we go blind together. It was great. It was great.
The
I
guy
don't know
might
who
have
did
made
it.
it in his backyard.
No, but
Speaking
that's
of mystery whiskey, I want to have some more of this Tabasco, can I?
Yeah,
that's
sure.
fair too, yeah.
But yeah, so you opened up in Ventura, and then the rest
Opened
is
up in
history.
Ventura, and the rest is history.
This is
You know, I went to law school with the Halpern, Daryl Halpern.
oh, you did?
I know that.
I went to law school with
Daryl.
Daryl and Stacy. They were in my
Yeah.
class. And then his brother, I think, was 1 year.
Went to
2 years.
Pepperdine, the other brother.
His brother was a couple years ahead of us, but Daryl
You
and
graduated
Stacy.
in '98, I read.
Yeah,
right?
98. Yeah, Daryl and Stacy were in my class. Daryl's a good fucking trial lawyer.
This is,
man. Good, and a great guy.
We were
Daryl's
trying
a good guy.
trying this case together in Ventura. Trevor's crossing this guy, and he's got a big oversized map. I love oversized maps so you can draw a race on it and stuff. And Trevor's walking this guy through the route that he took. And I'll never forget, he's like, and you went this way. And he's like, you passed right here. He goes, did you see my office is right here? Like, I remember the whole jury laughing. Oh, man. And the guy that was a foreman, he was actually an adjuster. And he was doing Etch-a-Sketch the whole time.
Yeah,
and he
that's
was...
right.
He still keeps in contact with me as his Instagram handle when he does like these
Really?
sketches really fast. Yeah, it's really cool.
I'll be down.
I had a juror one time who was like an artist and drew like one of those courtroom sketches of me trying this case. And gave it to me after the verdict. It was a good verdict and gave me the sketch. I still have it. It's beautiful.
Dude, I got my jurors coming to the hearing on the motion for a new trial on that $84 million verdict. They're still like, I'm on this text chain.
They're invested.
Dude, they're so pissed, man.
We used to have anniversary parties for a few of our verdicts where they would get together.
That's when you know, 18 minutes, 49 million.
Yeah.
Like that's when you know it's
Build
whatever,
a tribe.
whatever it takes.
Fuck, I love it. All right, Trevor, at the end of the episode here, I got to ask you, what's your bourbon of proof, man? Because I know you had a second pour of this.
Of the George Dickel.
Because it's so good.
Bourbon, what's your bourbon proof? What's your favorite of these three?
The Tabasco, the Dickel,
Yeah,
of course.
it's good.
I'm gonna
Still
give
in my
that one.
glass.
I'm gonna give that one to Trevor. Take home.
I've never seen that one.
It's not gonna make it home.
I'm gonna give that one to Trevor. That is good. Tastes good.
Yeah, what's yours out of all three of these?
I like the first one because I like a real fiery hot one like that. 126 proof will knock your fucking socks off, so it's not for amateurs. If you're not a bourbon drinker, don't drink this shit. You won't wake up you'll wake up 2 days later.
How can you beat this Tabasco?
Yeah, the Tabasco one's fucking
That's
good.
fantastic, man.
It's fucking great.
Thanks for having me.
It's
on.
crazy how much like a barrel finish can change the flavor.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Man. Well, thanks, Trevor.
Trevor, you're a legend of the game.
We hope to
As
see you in
always.
public office, man.
Trevor's a
Only
legend.
if you, only if you do it.
We might do it together, but let's see.
I know you got it on your site.
I'll be in Europe while you all are doing that.